up, everybody? Y'all know what it is. It's the show where we let our voices empower. The love show. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Like and share the show. Yes, we got a couple people in here, a couple people not here today. You know, things happen, but nevertheless, the show will continue to roll on. I have Sister Gunner here, sister
Hey guys,
evangelist,
happy Friday.
and I have Mr. Joe Montana football, and
Steve
Steve
Young,
Young football, and Garrison Hurst football,
Steve Young with Alex Smith.
and Alex Smith football, and Colin Kaepernick football, and anybody else I can name football, Patrick Willis football. I mean, go ahead.
Five-time champion football.
Five-time champion football. Yeah, we'll name that too. Five-time champion. Five-time champion. It sounds like Booker T. Champion. Frederick, what up? Frederick Wilson, what up?
What's up? What's up?
What's going on, man?
You know, just staying here in this Vegas heat.
Vegas heat, by the way. Not that San Francisco treat, that Vegas heat. Yo, we're gonna start the show off, man. We're gonna let them pick the topics. You know what it is. Like and share the show. You know it's about to get deep. Go ahead and pick the topic that we want to talk about. Sister Gunner and five-time champ.
Okay.
He'll be at least 6, but you know, I'm gonna let Jim Harbaugh. I'm not gonna talk bad about him today. Only today.
Oh, that's what we doing, Mr. 49. Listen.
Y'all don't want to do. You don't want to
listen. Let's not do that.
Oh, I forgot John and Jim.
You know,
John and Jim.
The problem is Frederick wants a fight.
Wait,
you want to fight? You've been starting with me. Let me tell y'all. Before we even got on the air, guys, Frederick started messing with me. He want to fight.
Wait. Tell the whole story. Because
I said, I'm outnumbered today. I didn't say it like, what was me? Like, I'm that chick, Frederick. I can do this by myself. Don't get it twisted. I can handle you and Andre both.
I'm not saying you can't.
I'm just here with my favorite guy.
I've
now divorced my work husband, y'all. Frederick is out of here.
Out the panelists.
Filling applications for a new work husband. That's it. We're done.
Out of this, you and 2 dudes, like, I don't want to hear it. Because normally, and I say no disrespect, Andre, because you're the moderator, but out of the panelists, it'd be 1 dude and a bunch of women. So now when you're the only people,
you're that dude. I didn't. It wasn't a what was me.
Hey.
You took it. You know what? On to the topics, y'all. So y'all know how we do it. We start a little heavy and end a little light. So tonight we are going to have a conversation about pedophilia. I'm going to start by saying that this is a touchy subject for me. So if you find me in an emotional space, just give me a minute. Bear with me.
And I'm just going to say that this is going to be a touchy song that I'm about to play, but nevertheless.
I thought you were going to go Cheryl Pepsi Wiley. Thanks for my child or something like that.
Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Up in here. Y'all gonna make me go all out. Up in here.
Y'all in right now. Y'all fighting there.
Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Up in here.
Go ahead now.
I was about to.
Let me tell you what the crazy thing is. When he said that it was going to get touchy, in my mind, he was going to play R. Kelly. So. It wasn't left. Don't do that to me.
You got that vibe where he said little cute Aaliyah's got it. You was going to do on that like that?
That's where he was going with it.
We're going to talk about pedophilia. We can bring Robert into this too, because we can bring Robert into
my
this.
bad.
But
why?
Here's what I'm going to say about Robert, Mr. Kelly. First of all, musical genius, that's undeniable. Yes, I do still play his music because whatever. The biggest problem I have with the whole situation with Robert Kelly is the fact that we're going to sit around and act brand new. Again, my man married Aaliyah in 19.
Yo, I got 12
I told you to say 12 ways.
Now, question: was the 12 play? Was the 12 symbolic? Let me let me stop. Let me stop. But anyway, we don't stop
Yeah.
brand new when it comes to Robert Kelly because we all knew he married Aaliyah in '94. And again, at the end of She's Got That Vibe, which that was what, '92? I believe that song dropped, something like that. He said, "Little cute
Yeah.
Aaliyah's got it." Now let's keep it real. It's a lot of Aaliyahs in the world right now, but it wasn't no Aaliyahs until Aaliyah. So there we go. But yeah, when did the sex tape come out? The P tape. What was that, like 2000? I remember, no, it was like 2001, 2002. I remember I was in Tahoe, so I never saw it because y'all know Tahoe was very white. So it wasn't like it was floating around the hood in Tahoe. So I never saw it. And then once it became a thing, I didn't want to look for it because again, I don't want it out on my search history that I was looking for the tape for the wrong reasons. But it's like, y'all notice how people really didn't care until white people got involved in Lifetime. I was like, oh, now we need to do something about Robert Kelly. Like, we don't know Robert Kelly was a sexual deviant since forever. He was Republican. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, now let's address it. So, I mean,
No comment.
right.
Like
So,
where's the lie? Like, where's the lie though?
right.
Because
Like,
I have not seen, like, I did not watch the documentary, and I will not watch the documentary. But I will say, from what I know about these cases, in the grand scheme of everything, y'all knew who he was. Like you said, we knew his history. So I am going to say it. Like, I'm not going to waste my time trying to be PC. These men and women gave up their babies.
thank you.
They sold their children, and they should have been charged with sex trafficking because what did you think was happening? And I really don't care who has an issue with what I say. Kick rocks. Like, I would never, and not even his history. I would just never leave my impressionable teenage daughter with some grown ass man.
Men.
Who does that?
Men. You got all these girls in the studio.
Yes, who does that? And then again, I'm pretty sure somebody's going to be like, that's judgmental. I can be judgmental as hell. I'm a mother, and I would not kiss my entire black tail. The whole thing.
Okay.
Kiss it.
I watched the documentary.
That's absolutely ludicrous. And when the checks stop drying up, oh my baby, kick
right.
rock.
Right.
Wait,
now I watched the documentary.
Robert needs some roommates up in there. He's due some roommates.
Nah, he need a whole apartment complex up in there because it's a lot of people that should be up in there with him. I watched the documentary, and I think it was like 6 parts. After about part 4, I just kept watching just to finish it out. But I was like, because it was one family in particular, and I know people out there, oh, you're victim blaming or whatever. They were at a concert with their daughter. I think she was like 14 at the time, and first of all, she was an aspiring musician. Who the hell did Robert put on? He put Aaliyah on, okay. And then Sparkle had like one song, which was only a hit because he was on it. But it ain't like Robert was just turning out little stardust. So why are y'all so in a hurry to give y'all daughters over to this man who ain't making people famous, number one? But so they at the concert, and they let their little daughter introduce Robert and everything like that. And the father said, I knew his history, but I still let her go. But I sent my oldest daughter with her. And I'm like, so this man is a sexual deviant, and your plan is to send both your daughters? You didn't send your son, the uncle. You sent both your daughters. And I get it. The daughter that was going to be a star, she was more of the quote unquote type, the little cute one. And the other daughter was not so much, but still. And no disrespect, but you sent your daughter to protect your other daughter from a bunch of grown men. Like, what kind of plan is that? But again, you sent your daughter off there because you was more concerned with her becoming a superstar so y'all can get that money than you were with the concern for the safety of your daughter. So yeah, to back up your point, like, yeah, these people, and yes, he is at fault for his actions and his tendencies, things like that. But all the people that were around that enabled him, that were serving up these girls, that were bringing them in and helping out, yeah, y'all need to put jumpsuits on too.
Very low. Here's the thing, real quick, because the comments it says, in all cases, no passes for the person, but why do we never hold responsible the supporting cast? Exactly. K. Michelle says she saw execs in the house and mama's cooking in the kitchen. Responsibility of all of them. Agreed. You know, there were people that were around that was facilitating, you know, and feeding his disease.
Exactly.
Um, and we have to hold everyone responsible for that. But
Right.
you know, my bigger issue is when K Michelle said that when mama's cooking in the kitchen, again, I'm a
Mom,
mother.
mamas.
That's not okay for my daughters. It's not okay for your daughters. It's not. You understand what I'm saying? Like going back to the village. What happened to the village? Where was the person that said, you know what, this can't go on, y'all.
Right.
This can't go on. We're not doing that.
Right.
And it continued to go on, you know. Um,
And then you got in the documentary, you got all the people that were around him at the time in whatever capacity, talking about, you know, their experiences, what they did, what they saw. And I'm like, but here's the thing. What we not worried about what you did. Here's what you didn't do. You didn't tell anybody. You didn't call the police. You didn't call CPS. You didn't do anything. Yeah, you was there, and yeah, he had this room going on and this going on, and we was at the tour and at the hotel and everything like that. But where you weren't at is at the police station following reports. So don't come back. It's like it's like Nazi Germany, the Nuremberg trial. We were just doing our job. My job was just to drive. No, okay, great. But you knew how old R. Kelly was. You might not have known that he was 32, 35, but you knew he was over the age of 18. And you knew that girl was under the age of 18. And you knew there was something going on other than just, hey, let's sit around and let me teach you these keys on this piano. And what did you do about it? Nothing. Therefore, you were complicit. Therefore, you need to be held accountable. And on another note, who's the pretty one with the glasses?
I'm sorry, I'm late. I didn't know exactly which topic we were talking about. I didn't know if we were talking about Wayfair or yeah, like I didn't know which.
you know, I'm so glad you said that, Selena. So let's just be clear, people. Wayfair is not selling children. Wayfair, like Amazon, like eBay, they have sellers. They have sellers on their website. So, like, can we stop throwing dirt on this corporation's name?
That's what.
Like,
yeah,
I was private sellers. Oh. That is not okay. So Selena, I'm so glad you said that because I've been reading on the timeline and I'm like, oh, ignorant. Like they had private sellers.
Well, today I'm trying to read up on the subject and I'm looking up Wayfair and I'm looking up news articles and there's nothing coming up. And I'm like, so do I fact check this? Because even in fact checks, it's like, yep, nope, not.
If you go to Wayfair's website, it will tell you who is selling what. Like when you pick the item, it'll tell you if it's Wayfair selling it or if it's whoever that
third party or whatever.
So, like, can we be careful because that's the problem with the internet.
Right.
People have knowledge at their fingertips and they are so quick to share ill-gotten information instead of fact checking before they share said information.
Right.
I mean, I will say this: that was a creative conspiracy theory about how the cabinets had the names of the missing children. But
this is true.
It's a problem. Like we live in this. Like I say this all the time, and I'm probably gonna say it every week because it's one of the truest things. We live in a society where we cannot get accurate information, and a large part of that is because anybody can put information out there, and then people take that information, they run with it, and next thing you know, the whole Wayfair thing is blown up, and it's like, did anybody like look into anything about anything? But here's my issue. Okay, so to your question, Selena, we just talking about pedophilia in general, and you know we got of Mr. Robert Kelly. I mean, with the whole Epstein and Gislani Maxwell, however she say her name, whatever. I don't care too much about disrespecting her by mispronouncing her name because remember when they arrested Jeffrey Epstein? Was it last year? And he was in custody. And we all knew that, you know, the Epstein Island and the list of names and the flight laws and it's some people on there. And then he killed himself, right? And when it was announced that he killed himself, what was the first thing everybody said? No, he didn't. And it was funny because everybody first thing they did, they blamed the Clintons, Hillary. And which was funny to me because I'm like, y'all do realize that on a power level, the amount of power and influence the Clintons has right here, other people that are allegedly in this,
way up there. Because we have royals on the list, and that indictment is coming. Because you see, you haven't seen him.
Right.
It's coming down.
So it was just funny to me how everybody just jumped back to, the Clintons had to kill him. I'm like,
against him. They are. Listen, this is what I'll say about that though, because you hit the nail on the head. I don't think he killed himself. It was a hit. It was absolutely a hit. And I don't think that's a conspiracy. Like,
he's still alive. That's another thing. He might still be alive. He didn't kill himself. Either somebody killed him, or they got him out of there and he's still alive.
Right.
That could be a possibility.
This is a question I want to ask y'all. Pedophilia, do you believe that is strictly perversion, or do you think that it ties into that mental illness area?
I'm gonna say this, and I need y'all to keep an open mind about this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm asking the question.
First of all, it ain't my, like, I'm about to be 42 in like a month, so I deal with grown women. But one thing we have to understand is that age limits are a societal thing. Nature, when a woman goes through puberty and her hormones start kicking, that's nature's way of saying you are sexually mature.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere along the line of society, we put age limits on it. Well, you know what? Don't touch that until she's this age. Don't touch that till she's that age. If you're this age, and here's the thing, notice how the laws are different from state to state. In some states, it's 18, so it's 17 with consent. So from a nature standpoint, when a woman's body tells her that she's sexually mature, is 100% different from when society tells us that you should touch it.
Right.
Does that make sense?
No, it makes perfect sense. I don't like it, but it makes perfect sense.
I know because we know.
Because I want to say that I don't like it, but
I don't like it either. But we got to remember,
it makes perfect sense, because if we were looking at it, let's remove the element. If we were looking at animals,
right?
My kitten, because my sister asked me, my cat started meowing all crazy. My sister said, "Is she in heat?" The baby's only 4 months old, but it's possible that she's in heat, and if she gets boinked, she's going to get pregnant.
Exactly.
Despite her being a kitten,
right?
Because I feel like if we talk about people are going to get real cringy and uncomfortable.
Whatever.
But you're right.
Yeah,
you are right.
Like,
ages on it. Like, maturity has nothing to do
at 18. When you turn 18, you're an adult. You're responsible for yourself. If you're 17 and 9 months and you do some dumb stuff, mommy and daddy, but 3 months later, that's all you. Hey, you know what? You're 21. You can handle alcohol now.
Right.
Why am I more mature now than I was yesterday? We just throw age limits on just because. Now, that's more so like the statutory issue. Now, when we talk about pedophilia, children, babies, toddlers, little children, that's different, because I'm like, I don't understand why as a person you would look at a small child and be sexually attracted to them. That, to me, that's more like they say it's a control thing, because it's not a sexual thing. You're looking at a little 6-7-year-old girl. For the most part, 6-7-year-old girls look like 6-7-year-old girls, and they like, oh my gosh, she's overdeveloped and she's got womanly parts that I'm attracted to, even though no, that's something as far as control, and
right.
I don't know what that is, but I mean, yeah, as far as it being a disease and things like that, and I mean, I don't know, I'm not a psychologist, that's not my area of expertise, but I know they do.
Well, I'm asking for your opinion. I don't want expertise here. I'm asking for your opinion. Do you feel
I think it's a sickness. I don't know what type of sickness I would qualify it as, but it's
right.
Because again, for you to look at a child, I'm not talking about a teenage girl.
Mm-hmm.
Teenage girls is different now than they was when I was coming up. Like, and then the attitude, like going back to Robert Kelly, you got all these girls that was 15, but you can't yourself off as an adult because your mindset. You may not understand the consequences of sex, but you understand exactly what you're trying to do. You knew you was trying to sleep with R. Kelly. You just didn't grasp the ramifications of it, but you knew what you was trying to do. Teenagers is different, but for little children, yeah, I don't understand how an adult person can look at a little child and sexualize them other than it being some type of sickness. I can't wrap my mind around that.
Yeah. I think with the going back to the issue of, or to the topic of society and nature, um I I also understand society's side of putting an age on it, because um children are not mature until a certain level. And if you think about it, um how would a 13-year-old girl feel if a grown man tried to, you know, tried, how would she feel? Would she feel comfortable at that point, or would she feel like a child who's like not ready for that world yet? You
Here's
know
the
what
thing.
I mean?
Here's the thing. It depends on the 13-year-old girl, because
It
not all
does.
13-year-olds are the same.
It does.
Because as far as maturity, like, I ain't naming no names, but I know a whole bunch of women in their 30s and early 40s that are not mature enough for relationships. I'm like, why you still getting played and knocked up by random? Like, you don't even know how. You're not even responsible with sex.
Okay,
But
well then,
because you're over 18,
not all
the
girls.
law
Some
has determined you are, but you're not, just because you as a person. So it's one of those things, we just throw labels on stuff.
That's
And
true, but in the same token, there are some girls who are early bloomers. I was one of them. So at 10 or 11 years old, if a full grown man, I mean, I can tell you at 25, I thought 30 was grossly old. And, so like when my friend said she started dating somebody who was 30, I was like, oh, really? And then later on, I was like, well, okay, maybe. Like yeah, that guy's better than my husband. But but I'm just saying, like a young girl though, an early bloomer at the age, if a man came up to her and he advanced, or like he was like, girl, you're cute, and like he made her feel uncomfortable or anything like that, would she feel like a child? And I feel like that's where society comes in and says there's got to be some, there's got to be some kind of cap on this.
Yeah, because I mean, our grandparents got married. Like, I'm reading the comments. Jackie Shaw said, back in the days, 13-year-olds were getting married, and that's very true. Shout out Don Jack. Thank you. My grandmother was 13 when she got pregnant with her first daughter, and she got married, had her second one at 14. And her husband was about, I want to say, 20 years older than her. The question is, where's the line? Because that was such a norm back then. Like, if you talk,
right, and so parents, like, have we conditioned ourselves?
Right, they were married young.
But you
a lot of reasons because of pregnancy. But where's the line? Because, not to get too personal, but if we're going to crack open nature versus societal norms, I was 9 when I started menstruating.
Right.
I was 9 years old. I have an 8 and a 10-year-old. My 10-year-old is showing all of the signs of maturing to that point where her body is making that transition. So I think, Fred, you make a very valid point.
Right.
Our bodies are getting ready well before our minds are getting ready.
Right.
And that's the scary part. When you
that's the scary part.
A 13-year-old girl that is fully developed. And I'm not defending men who have sex with underage girls, but if you're sitting up here and you have a buck wild, unwashed 13-year-old built like a grown woman, nobody at home watching her or checking for her, and she's cute and built and get into the club, at what point was the man supposed to say, let me see your ID? Because she's out 1:00 in the morning drinking in the club. So he took her home, had sex with this child. Hey, Ron, had sex with this child, and then everybody's ready to burn him at stake. But like, it goes back into the responsibility. The village having responsibility. Like, we gotta stop not watching our babies.
Right. And
we have to stop allowing them to step into roles that are adult. Your daughter should not be dressed provocatively. I don't care what you say about the line that is supposed to be drawn. Where do we draw the line for them?
Let me bring up this point about what you just said about being dressed. And I know like there's a lot of talk about like with schools and dress codes, and it's like, oh well, if the girl is dressed inappropriately and this and that, and I get all that nonsense.
Hold on, y'all, real quick, before you get into that thought, I have to do something. This is special. I brought a special guest on the show, by the way. Y'all didn't know this was coming. My brother Ron Thomas is in the building. By the way, it is his birthday. Happy birthday, Ron.
Happy birthday.
Ron, this shirt, the Atlanta Falcons Rise Up Family shirt is waiting for you, brother.
Thank you.
It's waiting for you. By the way,
I don't have a shirt for you. I have a unicorn onesie.
Oh my goodness. He also has Honey Nut Cheerios for you too, Ron.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
I want to tell y'all something because my brother, he raped my two nieces 2 years ago. And I'm, dealing with it right now, because at the time I lost my mind. I was trying to kill him as a man because these my babies, these my nieces, these my little nieces that I helped raise since they were like 3. So it was hard for me and still is to look at a man that would look at little kids. Like, really? You got all these females out here, you gonna mess with little kids? That's disgusting to me. But
so Letitia asked earlier, Ron, she asked, do you think that pedophilia is a mental illness, or what was the other term? Perversion. Just
to me, it's a sickness. It's very sick. Because me, I would never do that. They're not my cup of tea, But with him, he did the Jamie Foxx. He blamed me on the alcohol. And I was like, really? Ain't that much alcohol in the world when, they get you in your mind, you want to mess with 2 females, young girls.
Here, I mean, back to Letitia's question. Like, here's the thing I think of. The fact that it's so widespread. It's not like, okay, like if we just take the U.S. There's 350 million people in the U.S. It's not like it's like 4,000 people that are pedophiles. There's so many people that you have to think like, okay, why is it that there are this many people in the world that have, you know what I'm saying? It's like the number of people makes it to where it has to be something behind it other than just like, oh, these few people are sick in the head.
Right.
The sick in the head is a small percentage of the population.
Well, really, it like what Letitia was saying back in the day, females were not dressing like they is now.
Right. I think part of the issue is that our society is over sexualized.
Right.
Period.
And
when you introduce that level, because everything is sexualized.
Right.
Our children are introduced to very early. I'm going to hit a touchy subject for some people, just like with homosexuality.
Right.
We're oversaturated with that. We're oversaturated with sex. We're oversaturated with all of these elements. Our children are being introduced to these elements early.
Right.
Yes.
And what you say, Selena?
I said yes.
Right. They're introduced to it early, and what happens is people become desensitized.
Right.
When I was growing up, there were no openly gay men.
Right.
There were no openly, you know what I mean? People were very closeted. And if you did know, if you had an aunt or uncle that was gay, we didn't talk about it.
Right.
Where
But
now you're looking at people and they're flamboyant.
right.
People are okay with not public displays of affection, just full out soft porn in
Right.
public.
It
Yeah.
like
The introduction to sex comes so early and it's so highly saturated. I feel like that feeds the perversion. Because yes, I do think pedophilia is absolutely a mental illness, but I also think it's perversion. And I think that when you feed it, it grows just
right.
like fire.
It like
So when you're sitting here and you're dealing with people that are pedophiles, and then they have open access to be able to feed their pedophilia, how is that any different than drugs with a drug addict and alcohol without, an alcoholic?
right.
It's no different to me.
And then going
But
back,
people see sex basically on TV. Yes or no?
everywhere.
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 Oversaturated. It's our society is oversaturated with it.
Right. So if they're trying to sell something, they will put sex involved in it. Yes or no? If they're trying to sell clothes, shoes, whatever.
Absolutely, sex sells.
So
Absolutely. And here's the thing about sex selling. Women, female rappers can't have a rap career without selling.
yeah.
They can't have it without selling the cookie. You find me a female MC that stays at the top of the charts, not talking about how she popping her.
You're right.
Find me one.
This day and age.
Right. It doesn't happen. Sex sells, and that's what they want. So that's what we're fed.
Right. I mean, I'm gonna go back to what you was talking about with clothing and things like that. Because it's funny because I posted this on Facebook like 10 years ago. And I was like, yo, I'm tired of seeing teenage girls like walking in the mall and I look in Victoria's Secret and I see all these teenage girls in there, like, and they're like, oh, well, they have a, but still, that's a lingerie store. Anything you can buy in Victoria's Secret, but it's like the sex, like you said, the sexualization of our kids.
Right.
My aunt has a daughter, and when we first got together, she was 8, and we broke up. She was 15, and we used to always talk about like how it was so hard to find shorts for her because all the shorts that they sell. And now she was a little person. It wasn't like she was grown
Right.
woman size to where she had to shop in the women's part. Like she got her kids from like, what is it? The little kid, like not Forever 20. What's the place where the little girl shop, preteen girl shop. And I'm like, why are all the shorts in here?
21? I don't know.
Yeah, whatever, little Me Too, whatever. But I'm like, why are the shorts in here coochie cutters? Like, why is there no shorts in here that come down a couple inches down into the thigh? Everything is, and I'm like, why are all these clothes that are for 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old girls, why are they all short and revealing? We are already pushing these young girls into that sexual mold.
Right.
And so you have grown women that are over-sexualized, and now we're over-sexualizing our teenage girls. For a lot of men, if I'm trying to talk to Selena or if I'm trying to talk to Letitia, I got to come with it, right? I got to be slick. I got to be creative. Because y'all are grown women. Or I can go over here and talk to this little young girl. Hey, I got a car. You want to go to McDonald's? And then it's boom, it's easy. So it's like a lot of dudes are going to gravitate because it's like if you're looking for the sexual thing, like, and I don't mean disrespect. I'm not to equate women to property, things like that. But it's like a hunter. If I'm a cheetah, why am I going to chase this gazelle all over the damn Serengeti when, oh, look, there's a baby gazelle right there that I can literally just run up on and snatch up? So a lot of men have that mentality like, yo, I'm trying to get some sex. Do I want to work real hard for it, or do I want to go manipulate this young thing who is built the same as the grown woman? So from a sexual standpoint, I'm getting all the goodies and all the same toys, but I don't have to work that hard over here. Whereas over here, I can be correct.
Right.
A lot of men, I think that's part of their mentality too.
A lot of men, they don't want to work hard for it.
Exactly.
They want it easy. They want it on a platter. No, work hard for that, and you won't get 20 years in the slammer. You won't get 30 years in the slammer.
Maybe.
Or are they thinking about the consequences?
Maybe.
Not necessarily, and that's the problem. Like
right.
Ladies, let me know if I'm wrong on this. Another problem is that the consequences for these actions are not always there. The consequences for rape, sexual assault, things like that are not always there. And like a lot of things, our justice system, it's not equal. Like you have a situation like there was a young man, a young black man. I think he was 17, the girl was 16, and he got oral sex from her, and they tried to give him like something like 20 or 30 years in prison or something stupid like that. But yeah, you got Brock Turner doing what he did, and you didn't even miss football season. You went into jail week 1, and you was out in time for the playoff hunt. Like, so the justice system does not do women any favors, does not give y'all any type of justice with that whatsoever.
It's a double-edged sword, though.
Yeah.
Because if we're gonna have this conversation, we have to have the whole conversation.
Mm-hmm.
As a woman who has been molested, as a woman who has been raped, there are a few things that I have issue with. One, like you said, does the crime fit? Does the consequence fit the crime, right? But then on the flip side, then we have to deal with false accusations. Because when men are even accused of, not convicted, accused of, it follows them. Think about every athlete that was ever accused. It comes up every time he changes a team. It follows you.
Right.
So it's like, as a society, where are we going to really have hardcore boundaries for all of these actions? When it's a 16 to 17-year-old boy, even a 16 to 18-year-old, because that's the gap. I believe that the gap in Maryland is like 3 years. But boy is dealing with this 16-year-old girl. For some people, may be horrific. For me, not so much. But at 19, he is of age.
Right.
So it's statutory rape. And like you said, he could get anything from 10 to 12 years.
Right.
And I'm glad you brought up this subject. It was 2 football stars that said females said they got raped by them. And they were supposed to come to the NFL. And well, they lost their career because they went right to prison. The judge did not ask what happened, nothing like that. They went right to prison from college.
It's one of those things that are super, 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 super hard to take a side on unless there's actual physical evidence that something happened. And that can't always happen because a woman, when she is victimized, will not always come forward.
Right.
So it's just,
And a lot of the reasons why is because as a society, we failed women so many times. Like I was talking to a friend of mine and I was asking about that because, I mean, it's like, to like Letitia's point, when you see, especially when it's these high profile men to where the accuser has something to gain. Now, if a woman came and accused me of rape, I ain't got nothing. You have nothing to gain from that. But like you accuse Kobe Bryant, may he rest, or some of these other athletes, Mike Tyson and things like that, you have things to gain. So we want to look at the side eye, like, especially when they come out later on. It's not like, oh, he raped me last night. It was like last year or whatever like that. We look at the, like, why didn't you come forward then? Why you wait till, now dispute or whatever like that. Now you want to come forward. But I was talking to my friend, it's like, because you got to think, like, you make this claim. So you go down, you tell your story. Now you're reliving this horrific moment. Then somebody else comes in. You got to tell it again. Then you got to tell it again. Then you're on trial. Then they're going to go through and dig up all your background, everything you've done. Oh, well, you had sex with this dude on prom night. So maybe you're that kind of, and you get drugged through the mud. And so for a lot of women, it's like, yo, I'm not trying to go through that just to end up either with people not believing me, or even if they do believe me and I do get a conviction, this dude is going to serve 30 days in jail or 90 days in jail, or he's going to plea out or whatever. So I'm not going to get justice anyway. Why am I going to continue to relive this nightmare that happened to me? So as a society, we need to do better by women. But like you said, it's a double-edged sword because
it is.
There are a lot of women out there that are shitty that will accuse a man, and then all of a sudden your reputation is shot. So
right. And I mean, the double-edged sword goes back to society as well, because we've got women saying it shouldn't matter how we dress. It shouldn't matter. A man should be able to control his thoughts.
Right.
And as somebody who's progressive, I want to be able to agree with that, but I can't. Deep down, instinctually, I can't. It does matter. For men, they see something physical. They're visual people. They see something. It's different in their chemical makeup than it is for women. They see something that attracts them. To say that the breasts are only for feeding a baby and they should not be sexualized, to me, I am very liberal. Usually I'm very progressive, but that is something that I am hardcore. I don't believe in. I don't believe in that. I believe that men see breasts and they're like, boobs, yes, like sex. Like, and I don't think it's something that's conditioned in them. I don't know. I didn't grow up 100 years ago. But then again, like,
But then
do
again,
you see what I'm saying?
women were wearing bustiers that, squeeze your waist and push all that up. Like, why is that? Because again, there's something in men, we are attracted to certain female parts. That's why y'all start to develop them usually at the same time y'all become sexually ready. You go through menstruation, is because, okay, the flower is ready, now it needs to attract the bee. So
I think that,
but hey, come and get it. My milkshake brings all the, you need that milkshake to bring the boys to the yard.
Right. I think what the problem is the breasts are sexual, but in the same token, what women are trying to get across is a man should still be able to control himself no matter how a woman is dressed.
Absolutely.
And
What?
Absolutely.
And that I think is what is trying to be reconditioned into society with the women who are pushing this. Men are conditioned that breasts are sexual. I don't believe that men are conditioned that breasts are sexual. I believe that's a natural thing that's been since the Stone Age. But what really should be conditioned is men can control themselves when they see it.
Absolutely. Like, yeah, we gonna look like we are attracted to breasts, but we also need to know, like, hey, guess what, player? Like, those aren't yours. Like, just like with anything else. Like if I see somebody got a Lambo, like, yo, look at that Lambo, is hot. That don't mean I go over there and hop in it and drive out because it's not mine. So yes, you're absolutely right. Like, yeah, there are parts of the female body that we are going to look at, and especially the easier that y'all make it for us to see them, the more we're going to look. But at the end of the day, that ain't yours, and you don't touch it unless you've been granted permission by the owner, which would be the woman they belong to. Yeah, you're 100% right.
There's a difference between I'm feeling my sexy and I'm trying to seduce you. There's a definitive difference between the
There's
two.
an attitude in there, yeah.
And Selena, as grown women, we definitely know the difference between the two.
Yeah.
And I'm going to teeter-totter on this line of enticement. Because yes, I believe women should be able to dress however they want to dress. My closet is very diverse, and I'll say that. My closet is very diverse. Now, with that being said, there are certain things that I'm not gonna wear. Not because I'm a thick chick. Well, part of it is because I'm thick, and the other part is because I have children. And however I carry myself, I don't want my children to perceive it as anything less than appropriate. I have teenage boys, and my father's son. That's what I call my oldest. He's my father's son. He'll make little commentary about the way I dress, but I'm not dressed grossly inappropriate.
Right.
And I think sometimes when you dress a certain way, you invite certain attention. I'm not saying that it's right, but if you look trashy, because it's a difference between dressing sexy and dressing trashy, you're going to attract trash. And these are the conversations people don't want to have because I should be able to wear what I want to wear. Well, mama, if your nipples are out.
Here's the thing, you should be able to, but you also need to understand, do you live on Earth or do you live in some little Disney universe?
Right. And there's like, because some people are extreme.
They are.
Like some people are extreme. Like You can't go by me. Like, I'm pretty conservative in my dress. Like, I'm just starting to step outside of my box a little bit. But even my stepping outside of the box, there's quite a bit of material. Um, some people don't wear no clothes. Like, they take their nipples and walk out the door because society says if the cracks are covered, it's not indecent. And some people push it to the wire. You're probably not going to attract the deacon from the church. Well, you will, but that's a. I know. Flag on the play.
Open that can up, didn't you?
My bad. Flag on the play.
Come here, girl. Yeah, but let me touch on this though. So something that Selena kind of brought up. You brought up. Okay, as a woman, you should be able to dress however you want to. You should be able to dress however you want to. That's the perfect utopian situation. We don't live here, but also double-edged sword. As a man, especially these young men who are athletes, you're young. A lot of them are handsome. You in the incredible shape. You got your little plickety plick. Women see that. You should be able to just, you young and you in your 20s, you viral, you on tour, you on the road. You should be able to just go through and smash. But you also got to be smart and understand that there are women out there that will try to catch you up, especially if you real good. Like, oh, you are all pro defensive back. You a 16 mil a year player. So again, as a man, are you smart? Are you making sure that when you take women back to the hotel room that you have witnesses that saw this and that? Are you making sure that, what I'm saying, it's the same thing, like the same way women have to protect themselves? And I 100% understand that with women, the protection is more life-threatening.
Yeah.
Whereas men, it's more just career-threatening and, life-threatening as well.
Not always, though, Frederick. Let's tell a whole story since you want to touch on that. Women are aggressive.
True.
I have sat in... Like, we talk about sexual harassment, but we don't talk about how women get into groups and, like, gun for men, like y'all property. And women don't want to talk about it. They did it to us. It's not right when you do it. I remember I was working at a bank that I'm not going to say the name of. There was a young man. He was a bank teller, and he was the only male in our branch. And the other 4 bank tellers were young girls. We had 2 other personal bankers and myself. He dressed really nice. And unfortunately, I knew that he was well hung. You know what dress pants do with men. Y'all know, like, it's just as bad as us having on a bodycon dress. And, like, they would, like, gawk and whistle and, like, make all these out loud comments. Like, 1, we weren't at work, and 2, like, they were bidding on him, and I was like, this is grossly inappropriate.
Right.
And I remember, like, one day I walked into the break room and, like, he was cornered by 2 of the girls, and I'm sitting there like, okay, let me be the mother hen and break this up. Like, but women are, like, relentless. And those are the conversations that we not having. We're not having those conversations, which probably could lead into the segue of this Will and Jada thing.
Wow. So we done with this. We want to head into Big Willie style, or we
Stop clips.
I mean, as far as Will and Jada, first of all, I'm gonna preface this, and I cannot.
I got a caller on the line.
Okay,
I got a caller coming.
From.
Before we segue.
Yo, Eric, what's good, man?
What's up? Yo, I've been trying to get on the show for a minute because there's a lot of stuff that y'all throwing out there, which is right. I already commended Letitia's sister, Letitia. I commend her for every time she stands up to say that she's won. Not only that, just the simple fact that certain points that you guys are hitting on. You were talking about how certain women put their stuff out there like that. Well, they that's a learned behavior at a moment in time in history. We all know men dominated history over periods of time. I think I wrote that on there. And with that, it was a whorehouse that was invented for politicians and things like that. You thought that stopped? That continues to keep going on. Look at what happened down there with the Redskins situation. They had something crazy going on down there, and now that it's coming out, now everybody is appalled. Like, oh, I can't believe this shit is going on. No, that's how things work. Like this systemically is fucked up on all sides. Every woman that respects themselves learn from their mother how to conduct themselves at all times.
You don't know my mom.
Eric, real quick, make sure you remember you ain't got the show. No cussing, all right, bro?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you could
not that cuss word.
No, you good, bro.
You went to the Ace of Spades with it.
You don't know my mama.
We're gonna talk about that later.
It come out like that, man.
No, it's good. You good?
But listen, all I'm saying is this: y'all hit up me and Ron was talking about the subject that he brought up, and when I told him that it's a good idea that you talk about it, but make sure you have all your T's crossed and your I's dotted, because what you don't understand is it's not a lot of people like Sister Letitia. There's not a lot of people that's going to stand up and say, I'm strong, you ain't beat me. There's a lot of people that's on here and they listening to it and they like, scared still to this day. So that's why I said I commend her for stepping up and saying, you ain't beat me. You did what you did, but I'm stronger because of this. I'm not going to let that faze me in any way whatsoever. To me, I feel like she's what a successful person looks like. They go through the fire and they end up being a diamond at the end. So I didn't get a chance to hit all the points because I'm texting and listening and texting and listening. But if I could jump on your show at least once or twice so I can have my 2 cents in, I definitely appreciate that. Thank you, Drake, for letting me get on the line real quick. Just to, get my little 2 cents in.
Thank you.
I'll keep the party going.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate you.
Eric.
All right.
And he's right. He's absolutely right. The fact that you can come out and just say, and I know it's not easy to just say, I've been through this. I know it from this side. But and not only that, not only do you do that, not only do you say, I know it from this side, but you're also thinking from this side. You see it from other viewpoints as well. You're something I very much admire in you, that you don't just see it from your experience, which is something I have not ever been able to do. I'm so sheltered. I only see my experience. You are so good at seeing a viewpoint from your experience, but seeing all the viewpoints.
You know where that comes from, Selena? After my marriage fell apart, I asked myself, what could I have done and what could I do moving forward to be better? And communication is just so important for any relationship you're in, whether it's professional, platonic, romantic. In order to have good communication, you have to be able to pull yourself out of what your point of view is and look at it from the other side. If you come to the table and both people are playing defense, you can't move the ball. The ball doesn't move. So you have to be ready to surrender to, okay, this is your time. Let me understand where you're coming from. Let me listen to understand where you're coming from versus listening to respond. And it's such a knee-jerk reaction to listen to somebody to rebuttal.
Yeah.
But you can't understand somebody's point of view and their plight if you're listening to rebuttal. So I work really hard and very consciously to try to be quiet, to actively listen, to use my empathy in situations, even when I find them despicable. Because even, we all know that pedophilia, sex crimes, that's a touchy subject for me.
Yeah.
But we got to get to the root of the problem, because I feel like we're dealing with sick men and women when we get to this point. And like I said, segueing into the Will and Jada thing, like everybody has jokes, but I think the biggest point of what that woman said was she was in pain. So while I don't agree with it, because I'm gonna start on a positive, I'm going to rip her to shreds. I just want y'all to know, be ready.
Um,
But I heard her say she was in pain. Hurt people hurt people.
Bingo.
I lost my job because a female, the manager was trying to have sex with me.
Mm.
And I told her I got an old lady at home, and she kept on and kept on. And I told the head manager, he did not care, and I lost my job.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely happens to men too, and it's not talked about as much. Um, but yeah,
So
I think honestly, like even if I don't know, maybe it's just something that everybody feels that in the workplace, it's just not it's not safe to go to your boss and say, or somebody higher up and say this person has.
what?
I feel like almost anybody who does that, there's going to be retaliation. In my place of work, they have systems set against retaliation. Nobody can retaliate against you for whatever experiences you've had against them, but it's just going to be there no matter what. I don't.
I mean, it's as far as the whole Will and Jada situation. First of all, I don't care too much because unfortunately I don't know either one of them, and that's two grown people's marriage that ain't really none of my business. But
Right.
since it's all out in the world and everybody want to talk about it, first of all, Will, I'm gonna need you in the studio, whether TV, movie, or recording, because I need some more Will content. That's first and foremost, because we've been Will deficient. Because Bad Boys 3 was little trash, little garbage. But anyway, I'm
Yeah,
gonna need a new
watch.
and or a new album. But as far as the situation, like Letitia said, yeah, what Jada did, okay, but she did say yes, I was hurt. So obviously there was a breakdown in communication or acknowledgement at some point away. Either she didn't adequately communicate the pain she was in before she acted, or she did and Will wasn't receptive to it or whatever. But I mean, I don't know. And another thing I will say, because I've seen this going around a couple times, and I get it, people are on Jada right now, and we say petty and dumb things when we upset with a person. But people talking about Will, don't even sweat it because Jada ain't that fine. What you not gonna do is act like Jada Pinkett Smith ain't fine. We not gonna do that. We not gonna do that. I don't care how you feel about her as a person. We not gonna sit there and say that Jada Pinkett ain't fine. So I just gotta put that out there.
I think okay. So as far as the situation, I see two different situations here. I see the marriage, and then I see a 23-year-old where I've heard, like she kind of like sort of raised this boy from adolescence, like, or was a huge part of like his adolescence, and then he grew into a man. And some people are saying she still took advantage of it because it was like a mothering that, and then she whatever. I saw that side, and then there's the marriage side of it. As far as the marriage side of it goes, I am not interested in that. I'm not interested in the marriage or anything like that. As far as I know, Will and Jada could have been swingers. If they were, that's with them. Maybe he knew about it. I don't freaking know. Um, that's where I'm at with the Will and Jada. But as far as, and then at this point, this man is 23 years old. It's not like he's a kid anymore, and relationships do change. Kids can grow up together and see each other as friends and as, you know, the kid who was next door, and grow up, and then later on the situation changes and it's like, whoa, you're not the kid next door anymore.
Right. But also kind of goes back to what we were talking about in pedophilia and taking advantage of young people.
Yes.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
23, so by
Oh,
point, he's old enough to do everything but be president. But if we're looking at it, she's 48. She is over twice, so it's like she is over
She's a
twice.
cougar.
So it's like, again, that whole thing, like we talking about men, like, okay, if I'm trying to go after a grown woman, I got to put work in, or I go after this young girl and not have to put work in. We can kind of say the same thing about her. Like you can
But
either put work in and work
I
on
would
your
say the same thing about a man who's that age and a woman who's that age. I would say she's at 23, I feel like that's a mature enough age where you can decide what age is a sexual age for you.
Okay.
Well,
I don't
here
know.
we go.
I'm sheltered. I'm sorry, Letitia. Teach me.
Okay.
Teach
Here
me.
we go. Here we go.
Okay,
Let's,
go.
let's
Go.
start from the top. Let's start from the top. I'm going to
Okay.
start on a very positive note. First of all, let's talk about the marriage. I want to, regardless of what has happened, and by the way, Selena, years ago, they did an article saying that they were in an open marriage. Put a pin in that.
Okay. See, I didn't know that.
Right. That's why I threw it out there.
Okay.
I want to commend them as men and as a man and a woman in a relationship where two people were clearly hurting. Because if you watch the Red Table Talk, and Ron, thank you for sending it to me. You could still see where there was residual hurt and pain. To be able to in the midst of your hurt and pain, still be able to come to the table and have a conversation that was that open without being disrespectful. No, they're not perfect, but that is a perfect example of what that is supposed to look like when you say I do to somebody, and this is for better or for worse. Let's say this is their worst, and that's what it's supposed to look like. We are supposed to be able to come together and have these conversations and be honest, no matter how hard it is, because you said I do forever. So I commend them for their I do instead of I try. Now, August Alsina, I can appreciate, Selena, that you are progressive, but ma'am, as a nearly 40-year-old woman, it was grossly inappropriate for so many reasons. The biggest reason is not his age. The biggest reason is because we are dealing with a young, broken young man whom she knew was broken.
And sick.
Issues, battling addiction, all this money and no one to trust. And you, the person that he trusted, came in and capitalized on his affection.
Okay.
You emotionally and mentally raped him. It doesn't matter that he was of age sexually. You took advantage of your position in his life and who you were supposed to be. And as a woman, you cannot do that. Because had Will done that to some 23-year-old girl, I don't give a damn how progressive people are, they would have dragged him through the mud. No, I do not give Jada a pass. I understand that she was hurting, but you chose yourself over somebody that you knew was hurting. Somebody who you said, I'm going to love and nurture. You took that maternal love and flipped it into something romantic, really something satisfying for you.
Yeah.
Because that's what you needed in that moment. Is that not a predator? Because that sounds like a predator to me.
Honestly, I didn't know all that.
I'm not ripping. I'm not ripping you, babe. I'm not ripping you at all. Because truth be told, I don't care. But because we're in this position of being on a podcast, I have to know. Because I don't care. I don't care about celebrities. I'm busy. But if we're going to talk about it, and then being a relationship coach, this is a perfect teaching moment.
Yes, I learned.
This is a perfect teaching moment. So then let's flip the wheel. He could very well act like the victim here, or he could remain as quiet as he has, because I really like the moment when he said, you're not owning what you did. Tell them what you did. And she said, I was in an entanglement, which that was cute. But
can we stop using the memes? Like, it's over. Like, entanglement is we done. Can we stop with the it's over?
Well,
the first 3 days, but
the way they said it, they were trying to separate 4 years ago.
Right. I'm getting to that. I'm getting to that, Ron. So That's again a perfect example of fighting it out. It's not always going to be good. There's just no such thing. You do have to know when to walk away, but clearly it's not their time to walk away. There's still love there. There's still willingness to work. And when you have two people that are still willing to work, do the work. It's so easy to walk away because I'm tired and I'm frustrated and I don't want to. That's the easy part, to walk away. But you got to do the work. And while everybody is building memes and making jokes, you got to remember we're still dealing with people.
Right.
And in the grand scheme of this, my question is, where is August Alsina now? Not physically. Where is he mentally and emotionally? Because he had to be somewhere in order to tell his story. He told his story. He told his truth. But where is he emotionally with it now? Because that young man said he was in love with her.
Right.
So what now? While all the jokes are running, these are people's lives.
And I want to touch on that because we, as a society, we always talk about how we're so anti-bullying and everything like that, but we don't apply that. Like, we only apply that to people we know directly because we bully the hell out of celebrities, people we know.
Absolutely.
Everybody got memes and jokes. We don't realize this is three, well, at minimum three people, because then you got, Willow and Jaden and everybody else. And, these are people's lives that they are still like, this ain't something that happened that we just heard about and it happened back in the 90s. Like, they're going through this right now. And every day they wake up and look at stuff and they see and all the entanglement jokes. And it's like, as a society, we are so cruel to people we don't know.
Absolutely.
Like, because, well, they're rich and famous. So what? Like, last time money doesn't buy you feeling buffers. Like, you can't go down to the Louis Vuitton store and get a feeling shield. Like, okay, I'm rich, so now anything somebody says about me doesn't penetrate and hurt. Like, so what if they're rich and famous? They're rich and famous because they have a skill set that puts them in a position to where their value is more than what most people's skill set is. But they're still people. They still have feelings. Yeah. And society, like anybody, we make Kardashian jokes, and the way we treated Mike when he was still alive and things like that is like, we are a cruel and heartless society, and we're a bunch of hypocrites. Because if we were talking about, if like Selena, if your daughter came home and she was talking about one of her little classmates, the same way we talking about Will and Jada, you would probably nip that like, yo, you are a bully and we need to do something about it. But because it's Will and Jada, we don't know them and they're famous. That makes it okay for us. We talk about people like dogs in this country, and
I want to say this. I respect Will because he could have been like, you know what? I would cuss you out and everything else, but he did not do that. He sat down and talked to her. And that's what we don't do, in relationship. We don't sit down and talk no more in relationships. We don't communicate no more. We don't have each other back no more. Like, time you mess up, we ready to jump down your throat and all that stuff. But he sat down at the table like a man, and he was like, it is what it is. Right. We either stay together, we either work this out, or we either go our separate ways. I respect that as a man.
And to your point, 26 years ago, Boys and Men told us, we don't even talk anymore. Let's don't wait till the water runs dry. We ain't listen. We didn't listen. We listened and we bumped it, but we wasn't hearing them. Right. 26 years ago. Let's don't wait till the water runs dry. And what do? We don't talk. We don't communicate. Then things blow up. And then we want to try to do damage control. And it's like, had y'all been talking months ago, y'all could have eliminated this. Like I said, Will and Jay, I don't know. Y'all could have went, I don't know, but
I think the bigger issue is that it even unfolded in front of us. I commend them for being able to come together and have a conversation, but the conversation wasn't for us.
No.
I believe that what goes on between a husband and wife should be sacred.
Between that husband and wife.
That's the bigger problem. People, not just celebrities, because think about how many of your friends, couples that you're friends with on social media, and they get the beef and it spills on social media. Like, you're privy to all of the dirty laundry, all of the ill-gotten thoughts. People don't value privacy anymore. They don't value privacy, and nothing is sacred and nothing is off limits. That's part of the issue. Even going back to what we were talking about earlier with pedophilia, nothing is off limits. There's just nothing that you can't say. And I remember growing up, your mother, your grandmother told you what? You don't have to say everything that you're thinking.
Right.
People say everything that they're thinking. And then they say it, and I'm grown. No, you're not. You're an adult. But if you were really grown, you would have known you didn't have to say that.
Right.
You didn't have to say that.
Not being alive until you 18 or being alive until you 21 does not constitute being grown. Like grown is a mindset, not a chronology has nothing to do with, because it's some grown, from a mindset standpoint, it's some grown ass 16, 17-year-olds out there and some childish 30, 40, 50-year-olds out there.
Absolutely.
They got nothing to do with how grown you are.
Ding, ding, ding. Yes. Thank you.
You know, again, just, you know, I'm going to wear this relationship coach hat just a little while longer, y'all. You have to remember to be kind to each other, to go into things with grace, because you never know what that other person is battling. And when you don't know what the person on the opposing side of that table is battling, even when you're in a relationship, it becomes harder to be in it and love. This is, I'm pretty much an open book at this point, because you have to be able to tell your story in order to be a testimony for someone else. So I'm going to give y'all this nugget. As my marriage unfolded, and it unraveled rather quickly, like that last year, it was like that, gone. Had my ex-husband been privy to what I was battling with, had he not had to fight to love me the way that he did, because essentially I just wore him out. He looked and said, okay, at this point, it's either going to be me or her. And he chose him. How many times are we in those situations, whether you're the person doing it or you're the person on the reciprocating end of it? How many secrets do you hold from your partner? How many times do you say, I'm okay, but you're really not okay? You're screaming inside. And if you're with somebody that you can't trust, to say, I'm in trouble, I'm drowning. We need to reevaluate these relationships, ladies and gentlemen. Because if you cannot be vulnerable with the person that you're with, you should be alone.
100%. Yes, thank you for saying that.
Hence why I am right now. Listen.
Whoa, where are you? Oh, you're not.
Oh, I'm here. I'm here.
You are here. Your picture's not here.
About Jada. Oh yeah, I got something to say about this whole Will and Jada situation. There's a couple things that bother me real quick. Number one, first and foremost, Jada, you need to take responsibility. Stop making excuses. I can't stand that, because if this was Will, he'd be crucified right now. It wouldn't even be funny. First and foremost, I think a lot of people are not thinking about this in totality. What does Will Smith symbolize to most folks?
Say that again.
What does Will Smith symbolize to most folks?
Goodness.
Wholesome, has the untouchable one, the one who hasn't had problems. Jada, if you wanted to go out messing with somebody, you could have messed with somebody in Europe and kept that to yourself. You had to mess with somebody close by, and then you got caught on the fact. Do you not understand how that can ruin somebody's career? Like, the reputation Will Smith carried is probably tarnished now, totally tarnished. I'm not even thinking in that totality, because Will Smith is viewed in a certain limelight. That limelight is gone, totally gone. And you got Will Smith looking the way he did on the interview, like, are you serious, Jada? Like, if this would have been the other way around, they'd be crucifying him. You wouldn't even listen. You wouldn't have room. You wouldn't have room to talk, because everybody would be on his. You know what, man? Like, it's not right. It's not cool. It's not cool. The dude had mental issues, mental health issues. She took advantage of that, and then you got involved. That's your son's friend. Are you
Yeah,
serious?
yeah.
Yeah, I don't care how old he is. You took advantage of that situation. That's your son's friend, man. You don't. There's certain boundaries and lines you just don't cross. That's one of them. And you are a grown woman. You know better. You know how to set it off. Like you said earlier, she fine as wine. You know how to set it off. You ain't had to set it off like that. You didn't care about Will's well-being when you did that. Not at all. You need to be held responsible for that. Point blank. I'm sorry. I'm not giving a pass. She gets no pass in my book. None. Zero. Zilch.
That's a good point.
Yeah, because I mean, I think Letitia prefaces like, yeah, if it was just about her being hurt or her missing something, there's 7.5 billion people on the planet. Jada, you fine. It ain't like you got a problem with a man giving you that type of physical.
You could have went. You could have went to Italy. You could have went to Italy where it's legal. You could have went to Italy where it's legal. You could have. You could have did anything, but to your kids, friends, man. Like, come on, you didn't care. Just say you didn't care at the time, and then right. But here's the other point that I really need to touch on before I totally forget the point. The other point. The other point is real simple. Jada. Jada. You mean to tell me you'd have been okay if Will would have did that with a 20-year-old? Now let me tell you this. Let's hold on, watch this. Right. With a 20-year-old, mind you, there are billionaires getting busted for pedophilia, affairs, sex trafficking, things of that nature. You have not heard one person come out on Will Smith yet. And you know how they all had the rumor about swingers, this, swinging that, all that nonsense in the past. Well, obviously, Will ain't been doing much swinging because where's the women at? Where's the women at? Where the women at? Women would have came out by now. I mean, they came out on Bill Cosby. They done came out on R. Kelly. They done came out on people richer than Will. But they ain't come out on Will. No, none. Zero. Name them. I'm still waiting.
To be fair, Andre, though, you're talking about men who have sexually assaulted women.
Oh, I'm talking about people who play around with other women. Period. In any capacity. I'm talking about whether they was married and cheated. I'm talking about whether they was married and went to the Jupiter hotspot. You know what I'm talking about, Frederick. The Jupiter hotspot.
Whoa.
He just put you on the spot.
What the hell is the Jupiter hotspot?
Yeah.
Sir, it's the place where Robert Kraft and them all went.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know the name of it.
Yeah. Well, it was in Jupiter. It's the city of Jupiter. You know what they did. They also prefaced it that a certain 45 was involved too. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Where's Jupiter?
Jupiter, Florida.
Oh, okay.
But it was getting tucks and pulls. That's all I'm gonna say.
So I gotta research it.
Listen, we talking about billionaires. Nobody came out on Will. Nobody. So please elaborate on how this is okay. I'm telling you, if it was Will, they'd be crucified.
Nobody here feels that it's okay. Little bro, nobody here.
No, I understand that, but I've heard so many people arguing for Jada. Well, this, that, and the third. I'm like, well, that's why you in the position you in. Because if you do better, if you knew better, you do better. Hello.
Here's another thing and I'm glad you brought this up because I was thinking about it and I didn't want to say it because I wasn't 100% sure. That was Jaden's friend. Like, now, ladies, I don't know, but Dre, correct me if I'm wrong. Let one of your boys smash your moms. Like, nah. No. Let one of your boys come around and talk about, yo, man, your mom is fine. Nah, we not happy.
me.
Not only does she not think about Will, not only does she not, consider the damage she's doing to August. What about Jaden? Now you want everybody in the world knows that your boy smashed your mom's. Like, nah.
To me,
Yeah,
that I will look at you like, really?
I think, and in high school, I have two homeboys that smashed somebody's mama, and I watched it unfold real ugly.
Yeah.
And like, because you can't come back from that. Like,
But it
once,
a line you cannot
once
cross.
everybody knows, it's game over, and then stuff gets real disrespectful. And
exactly, because once I smash your moms, you can't say nothing to me ever. You can't ever say nothing to me. Like, you got your boys, y'all like to clown around us like that. You talk about the ultimate trump card. Like, dude, I smashed your moms. Like, don't ever come out your mouth and say anything I don't even remotely dislike, because there's no comeback for that. Like, I don't care how good of jokes you got. When somebody like, yo, so I smashed your moms, and it's true, you just gotta go. You just gotta be quiet, or you can. Matter of fact, no, y'all gotta fight. You gotta punch them in the mouth. Like, that's the only thing. That's the only response to somebody tell you they smashed your moms. It is true. You gotta hit them in the mouth. And if you can't fight, then you just gonna have to get beat up every time you see that person. Because there's just certain.
So, like, going back to your statement about us bullying, my sister said, "What about both kids? Willow has documented a case of cutting. As a matter of fact, I remember this being a red table talk where she was sitting with her mother and her grandmother, and she was explaining to them how she cut herself." Jaden also has had some rumors of some struggles. And I believe he came to the table, but I distinctly remember Willow coming to the table and having conversation. So when you watch these things unfold, like you said, Fred, like we pick these people apart like they're not human. And we know that when your marriage falls apart, it impacts the children tremendously. And I remember when my parents broke up, I was 22, married with children, and my ex-husband held me as my father was moving out. I was in tears. Like, that affects people. It affects your children, like adults or not. It affects your children tremendously. Think about it. I know grown people, like, really, like, in 30s. The parents broke up, people mad, getting ready to kill somebody. Like, it. These are people, these are families, these are real issues. Like, we can sit here and pass judgment on Jada and her choices, or Will and his choices, but like, at the end of the day, stripping down to everything, these are human beings.
Right.
And just the same as she did what she did, and I'm going to give her grace right here, she has to live with the fact that we all know what she did as a woman, as a mother, as a wife. I'm not saying that as, oh my God, we should be super sympathetic, but could you imagine having an indiscretion with your wife? And fellas, for y'all in particular, a lot of times when we're wronged, it comes up every time we get into an argument. So just for a second, think about how many times is she going to have to atone with other people about her marriage? Not even with her husband, with other people about what she did in her marriage to her husband.
Right.
I want to say this. I seen it for myself, and 50 Cent, he came at Will Smith and was like, "That's a messed up."
This dude. Somebody get 50 Cent a muzzle.
Man, 50 Cent is a plastic.
And,
Like,
and Will Smith was like,
plastics. Just,
like, we not, as a matter of fact, we not even going to talk about this dude. Like, no.
It's
next
like
week.
sometimes 50 Cent's level of petty, like when he did what he do when he bought out the whole front 2 rows of Ja Rule's concert, like that kind of that was petty and funny. But 50 Cent, I'm saying, yeah, 50 Cent is one of the plastics. And yes, that's a Mean Girls reference.
Right.
He does.
To
Yes,
me,
Does.
to me,
for no reason. Like, what do you just like
Sit
you go
around.
around thinking that stuff just because you can. I'm like,
Yeah,
right,
he peddles petty.
right. To me, 50 Cent in my eyes is a joke.
Like, we're not gonna spend no time talking about this dude, y'all. I'm telling you, it's not gonna happen. Not on the Love Show. Maybe somebody else's show, but it's not gonna happen on the Love Show.
yeah, all right, let's move.
It's not gonna happen on the Love Show.
It's hard for me to follow celebrities in general. I actually had to do a little bit of research on Will and Jada today because I wasn't sure what the whole situation was. But yeah, it's hard for me to follow.
About business. You know what I mean?
That's how I kind of felt. I was like, I kept seeing the memes, and I was like, and like Letitia, you brought up some valid points to me. I didn't know that all the background circumstances that she had had with this boy before because I didn't really care. Like I didn't
Right.
really, like I didn't really get into it. I cared more about Breonna Taylor and like
we all had to research.
yeah.
But we are now entertainers and this is our life. So
well, and I think yeah. Yes.
I'm looking side at people that can just rattle off details about celebrities' personal lives. Like, that's weird, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
weird.
That you don't know and that you don't. But like and I'm gonna say America, not saying that the world isn't guilty, but I don't like to talk about other people's houses. As America, our infatuation with celebrity, like the royal wedding, like this whole country sat around all morning watching long, dry, boring. Like, first of all, that don't mean even your people. They don't even live here. And then
any wedding,
as soon as they saw the dress, everybody running out to get the dress copied. And I'm like, if you wore that dress and you didn't tell nobody whose dress it was, is anybody gonna look at you coming down the aisle like, oh my God, you got no? Why do we care so much about people's lives?
dude, you're getting into a whole new topic.
I like your music and I like your movies. I need more of both. My relationship with Jada is this. I like your movie performances, and you fine as hell. I enjoy looking at you. Other than that, Willow Smith, that whipped my hair back and forth, I don't care. I'm a grown man. That track was fire. Jaden Smith. I mean, you was all right in Karate Kid. You was all right in After Earth. Other than that, I don't really know mess with Jaden Smith. But I don't care. Like, I liked Will and Jada's relationship. They had a little fun relationship. Like I don't remember what award show, but she was giving a speech and everybody gave her a standing ovation and he stood up and clapped for like an extra 2-3 minutes being super extra. Like I enjoy that. But I don't care about your life. Now, if y'all are over and we kicking it, I might do a little bit of reason, but I don't care. I don't know y'all. Yeah. I would love to meet y'all. So Will and Jade, if y'all ever see this, holler at your boy. Like, but
come on the show.
Yeah, we can run lines from Bad Boys, the first one, because the second two was in.
I've never seen them.
All right, we can have a watch party, Selena. Stay tuned. Look.
This your life right now. This is what I need your life to be. Ooh. You know what? Matter of fact, I'm probably about to introduce you some movie collectors. This is probably a whole lot of movies that you said you probably never seen, and I'm gonna have to really disown you. Because you
Lord of the Rings.
Like Coming to America, Boomerang.
I love Coming to America. Don't even. I love Coming to America.
I'm on Facebook on my phone right now. I can block you like, boop. Just, so you never seen Come to America. Boop.
You wouldn't dare.
What is happening?
I don't know. I've had Tito's.
Well, what's happening is apparently Selena never met me. It doesn't know that I'm
how dysfunctional this.
We are a family and we are brothers and sisters, and we're gonna fight.
Y'all making me look bad. They're like, Letitia need to do some life coaching up in there. Y'all dysfunctional.
I'm just saying.
There is no life coaching here.
It isn't. It's just alcohol and arguments.
Tito's. At least Tito's is for dog people.
Wait, what?
Tito's is for dog people. Did you not know that? Right there. Vodka for dog people. Do you know that it headquarters?
What to say about her? Like,
did you know that it has no? Okay. White people news. I'm sorry. Like, you're going to get it if you bring at headquarters in Texas. they can bring their dogs to work because they started a foundation. Tito's did. A certain percentage, I don't know what, because I'm a little bit drunk now, goes to dog rescues.
Do you see how much vodka is missing from this bottle?
I had a lock on it.
He's a little slurred.
I got home from work and I brought the bottle in.
Wait, hold up. I'm gonna go back to she said white people news. Taking y'all dogs to work, that is definitely some white people. Because if you heard in other news,
I want to bring my dog to work.
There was a little dog fight skirmish broke out as it took the dog to work. Nate, ain't nobody
Chihuahua versus Shih Tzu.
We just know that was a very light office. If taking your dog, that's the shit y'all do. Taking your dogs places, carrying them around, having them lick you in the mouth and stuff. Yeah, that's
so it's not Karen news, it's Becky news.
It's
What in the listen? No, we are not doing that.
Selena,
how the left show goes
with the nightly Caucasian news.
Selena has Tito's and probably Cheerios, and Frederick is on one.
I have no Cheerios.
Why? I'm not on nothing. Y'all saw
I have no Cheerios, just Tito's.
Yeah, I said you're on one because we came on the air arguing, and
because I was saying
I had a harmonious work relationship. I don't know what's happening. Like Selena, I divorced him before you got here. Like he's no longer.
You divorced Frederick?
Yes, and you know
congratulations.
Thanks. We're gonna party out.
Anyway. That's how I was after my divorce. I was like, congratulations.
Yeah.
What was the next topic, Frederick?
I don't remember. Nick Cannon?
The baby is drunk. Like, the baby's drunk. Like,
a little.
Oh my God, the baby is drunk.
A little bit, but I really enjoy this conversation.
Oh Lord.
Hey,
I'm
just gonna finish this and I'll put the Tito's away.
We had on the slate to talk about Mr. Nick Cannon, which
I told you.
See, now look, okay.
Nobody taught me how to swallow.
Selena, we are on the network now.
They like it. Where'd he go? He's just smiling and grinning now. Where'd he
go? Like, this is ridiculous. This is out of control. We are missing half the host. Our moderator is gone. Help me. Help me.
Is Casey home right now? If he's not, he needs to be at home. He needs to be home when the show ends. Casey needs to be at the house when the show ends. That's all I'm saying. If he is not home,
he knows when to leave the room and come back.
But is he home though? Is he in the house? Okay. Casey, you start stretching. Hydrates. Yeah.
Yoga trapeze.
Oh.
No, he shakes his head. I knew it. His picture came up again.
Trapeze. Like,
all right.
Okay.
So Nick. So Nick Cannon.
Okay, so I didn't get to look up Nick Cannon. I don't know what's going on.
So I'm gonna start by saying I'm gonna start by defining anti-Semitic. Let's do that.
I was gonna start there. So yes, please do that. Please do that.
So it is defined as feeling or showing hostility towards or discrimination against Jews as cultural, racial, or ethnic group. Let's start there, people, because they said that's what his comments were. And now that we've defined what it is, I'm going to give Frederick the floor.
Well, hold up.
Oh, you weren't ready?
No. You can go ahead and keep going.
Okay. So basically, to just simplify that, we're talking about hate speech against Jews. I heard a clip of, the conversation, and I'm not prepared to say that he used hate speech. What I will say is everything is about positioning, and Nick Cannon has been played out of position. There is definitely an agenda, and he was played out of position because his comments were not at all hateful, or his tone and demeanor wasn't even derogatory or negative. He was simply stating, I'm going to say opinions, but a whole lot of facts in his statement. And it just goes to show how, not even in a black man's perspective, but I'm sure Frederick is going to talk about it, but it shows how if you are not driving your own car, so to speak, somebody can come in and strip everything that you worked for just like that. Just like that. So we have to, be in control of our time, our money, our legacy, because they just was like, okay, you're done.
Right. I want to pose this question, based going back to your definition of anti-Semitism and hate speech. And you said that you don't believe you were speaking hate speech. Me personally, I don't believe it was hate speech. But just to pose this question, because we can, as you and I and Andre, as black panelists, we've heard a lot of times where people have said some things that other people outside the black community have said, well, that wasn't hate. And it's like, so in this situation, is it really like who's the party that decides whether it was hateful? Is it the person who said it and the people that heard it, or is it the people that could be affected by it? Does that make sense? Like if somebody says we deem it to be anti-black, and they're like, well, it's not anti-black. Well, how? Well, is that your place to say it's not anti-black, or is it the people that? So in this situation, just to pose this question, is it our place to say that it was not hate speech, or is it maybe the people of the Jewish community? Does that make, like, just to pose that?
It makes perfect sense.
Because I like say you and I don't believe it's hate speech, but it also, we don't have that background that they have as far as dealing with anti-Semitism, things like that, to where, like, just because we don't deem it's hate speech, if they do, is that enough to make it okay? Well, then it is hate speech. And the reason why I asked that question is because, again, as and as Selena, as a woman, it's like if a man's well, who are you to say it's not sexist? You're, so I just want to pose that question out there, and definitely comments to weigh in on that. But to what he said, yeah, and I'll agree with that. I mean, he was speaking on that along the lines of the Hotep thing, and as far as black people being the true Jews and the Israelite, and that's a whole thing that I don't get into personally. Not that it's not an important topic for people to come, but for me, it's just not something that I get into. But I think what he said more so should be used to spark a conversation rather than to just quote unquote cancel it. Like if for people out there who don't like what he said, don't agree with what he said, again, to your point, the tone of which he said it in was more of a, I'm just giving you this information, this knowledge, my perspective, not, oh, well, y'all are. So it's like, rather than come out and be like, oh, kick Nick Cannon off everything, debate it, refute it, tell us why tell us and tell him why he's wrong. Don't just don't say that, go away. No. What you said was factually incorrect, and here's why. Because he's not the only person that has said these things, that believes these things, that has gone on this topic. So if there are people out there that believe this line of thinking to be true, if you're on the opposite of that and you take offense to it, or you find problem with it, let's combat it head on, and let's find a resolution. Is this something where there is an actual true answer and it needs to be proven, or is this a situation where it's opinion based and we just have these two different opinions? But like you said, based on what he said and how he said it, to me, this is an opportunity to have a conversation, not an opportunity to get rid of something just because, oh, well, you said something about Jewish people that wasn't 100% positive, therefore it's anti-Semitism, and no, that's not what anti-Semitism is. Anti-Semitism is hate. Not everything that's not, and I hate the fact that we throw the word hate around way too much. Oh, that's hateful.
Oh.
Not hate. Just because it's not positive does not make it hate. There are a lot of different emotions besides love and hate. You got love, you got hate. There's a lot of stuff in between that. And we are so quick to just hate. No, it's not hate. He just said something that maybe wasn't positive and you may not agree with. But, and I said this on my Facebook page many times, if I say something and you don't like it, first of all, ask yourself, is it not true? Because if I say it and you don't like it, but you can't disprove it, then what you should ask yourself is, well, why? If it's true, why does it bother me? That's a question you need to ask yourself. If it bothers you because it's false, that's one thing. But if I say something and you're like, I cannot disprove it, so then why does it bother me? Why does this truth bother me?
Right.
So this is an opportunity for the people that have the same views that Nick Cannon has and the Jewish community. Okay, y'all are on opposite sides of this issue. Have a conversation about it. And with Nick Cannon being a celebrity, being so visual, because Nick Cannon got more shows than everybody. Like, Nick Cannon probably done been on more shows than everybody in the history of Earth.
Really?
It's time to have a public, Nick Cannon. People don't realize that boy, Nick Cannon, is a beast. Because I don't know how old Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon is like mid-30s. Nick Cannon is younger than me. That boy is a beast. Nick Cannon has been fired from.
Was he the one who was married to Mariah Carey?
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's on like, here's the thing. I'm sorry. That ain't even the top of his resume. Because I'm like, from the standpoint, I gotta go with Christina Milian. Nick Cannon, a bit man. Look, Nick Cannon is a bad boy. If those of y'all
Didn't him and Eminem have beef?
Because of Mariah, yeah.
Oh.
But if y'all
Nick Cannon is 39
and wilding out and the rap albums, do some research on Nick Cannon. That boy.
I don't do celebrities.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I just want to say this real quick. As far as Nick Cannon is concerned, I think it's absolute BS what they did to him. At the same token, Nick, it's business. And you know, anytime you say anything semantic, anti is coming behind it, especially when you add black folks. Black folks and hate nowadays go hand in hand, supposedly. No matter what you're talking about. We talk about Black Lives Matter. Hate.
Y'all hate white people. You hate.
You talk about social injustice with black people. Hate. You say black people in the Bible was considered Jews, which is very true because I'm one who studies the Bible. I'm a Bible scholar. Yes.
Hebrew.
Very true. Yes, he called them they're Hebrew, Jews, same thing. Jews, Hebrews. Yes. Totally get it, Nick. But Nick, you wilding out. Well, know why? Because there's other people involved besides you.
Yep.
How many people only had a job with wilding out? How many other people only had a job with wilding out? You have to think about the others as well. It's business. I get what you're saying was totally fine. But you totally missed the ball and dropped the ball when it comes down to everybody else that's behind you. Totally. We just talked about Jada and Will, stuff that you do tarnish people's image. How many comedic events do you now think Carlos Miller and them gonna get behind this? Chico Bean. How many comedic events they gonna get invited to? Oh, you the dude that was for Wildin' Out, the one that Nick Cannon. Oh yeah, making anti-Semitic comments. Oh no, we don't want you. Nah, bro, we'll go with somebody else. Yeah, think business, man. It's a bad thing. I'm not saying I'm okay with what he said, what they did. I'm not saying I'm okay with what they did. I'm not. Totally not. I think it's absolute BS and it's over excessive by a mile. But from the business standpoint, you can't. That ain't the platform.
I agree with you 100%. I'm gonna take it here. We need to now. Again, this is a need. This is should be not actual, because Andre, what you're talking about is the way things actually are. The way things should be is you should be able to say these things that are thought-provoking and inspire conversations. So now that goes to Nick Cannon, where do you go? You've been fired from these various platforms. I know you got an offer from Diddy to come join. If you'd asked me 5 minutes ago, I forget the Revolt, or I forget the network, but it's a black-owned entity. So it's like Nick and other people. as Letitia, as you talked about, when people control you and when people have ownership over what you do, they have the ability to cancel you. So now Nick, because Nick Cannon gonna be all right. Nick Cannon is good. Nick Cannon is not like he just got fired from his only job and Nick Cannon gonna be out on the streets tomorrow. But your voice, your platform, your resources, your influence, this should be a wake-up call to you to take that to a place, as Letitia talked about, where somebody else can't cancel you. So now when you say these things, that should be said. We need to have conversations that make people uncomfortable, because the problem is that we've been comfortable. Certain people have been comfortable in this country since forever, and that's why things have not changed, because they've been comfortable. We need to start making certain people uncomfortable, because change comes outside of your comfort zone. So now Nick Cannon and other people right there that have the ability, the power, the resources, the connections, and the money to do so, maybe you go out there and build your own platform. So when you say things that people are uncomfortable with, they cannot cancel you and you can continue to say them and force them to have these conversations.
Here's the thing. We have become so sensitive as a society. You can't open your mouth and say anything. So I'm going to take it back to the Bill of Rights, where we're supposed to have free speech, right? Now, I do think there should be limits, because I just talked about everything that you think shouldn't be said, right? But if you feel like his comments were anti-Semitic, if you felt like his comments were out of line, and he tweeted this himself, it was a time that was time to come together and have a conversation. Because if he didn't see where his comments was wrong, that's a teaching moment, correct?
Correct.
So where do we draw the line at freedom of speech versus calling everything hate speech? Because I mean, just think about it. I'm going to say the alphabet people, and the reason why I say it is part of it is because I can't remember the letters, and the other part of it is because it's too many people to represent. Y'all know who I'm talking about, the alphabet people. Our, gay, lesbian. It's too many letters, y'all. I'm not going to remember. I tried. I'm so sorry. If I offended y'all, I'm sorry.
LG,
I just
LGBTQ plus. That's what I go with.
plus all right. So
And yeah, like in all honesty, I feel that way a lot. Like I don't know.
problem is we're not free. Like, we're so PC now. Everything has to be so PC. So I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be real straightforward with y'all. I have no aspirations of being a TV personality. Kiss my entire tail if you think that I'm going to watch what I say, because I'm not filtering my opinion on anything based upon hurting people's feelings. No one is ever going to agree with you 100%. You're never, ever, short of me purposely trying to offend you, and I promise you, if I am purposely trying to offend you, it's going to happen. It's going to happen hard, and it's going to be ugly. I'm very deliberate about everything that I do. But you can't say anything to anyone. If I don't like being around flamboyantly gay men, that's my choice. But I can guarantee 10 years from now, if I made it big, somebody would dig up this video. She hates gays. No, I don't enjoy the company of flamboyantly gay men. Let me explain why. I have a reason. A couple of reasons, actually. But the last 2 times I went out with flamboyantly gay men, I got into a fight with other gay men. It was not pretty, okay? Because gay men don't fight like gay men. They fight like grown men. And I got into a fist fight with a grown man. No, thank you. Okay?
Oh,
So, with that being said, because I know I just went off in a tangent, go.
I'm just imagining Brad Mondo and
You know we don't need details of that story when we off the air.
we're gonna talk about
yeah.
it. We're gonna talk about it with alcohol. But you can't say anything that is deemed negative about any particular social group. Like you said, Black Lives Matter. I'm gonna share this with y'all. I said to my co-host as we were brainstorming, let's be careful not to look like Black extremists with a token white face. Had Selena been anybody else, because had she been a Karen, woo, she would have been like, Galindra, this black girl is picking on me. But
Karen would have been gone a long time. We'd have ran her off a long time ago.
Right. But
she would have been the strongest Karen ever because she'd have been getting work and smoke from all directions.
But you can't say anything.
Yeah.
And let's say I don't think he said anything in malice.
Right.
And I didn't find any fault in what he said. But where's the Jewish community on this? Because I haven't heard a lot of backlash from them.
Right.
Then furthermore, this man apologized and his community, ripped him to shreds for the apology. Instead of, let me support my brother on this, him apologizing is some BS. Y'all was supposed to take that beef to Viacom. Y'all wasn't supposed to take it to Nick. He did what he had to do because back to what Andre said, more people eat off that plate than just Nick Cannon.
Right.
So he had to apologize because his whole team's well-being, the way they eat, was compromised by his statements. He had to apologize. I wouldn't have did it. We hungry now. But understand who you're dealing with.
If you haven't flipped your wilding out status into something else by now, that's on you. Because there's no wilding out character. They on and did
why I'm not responsible for other people other than my 5 children. And look, I've walked off of jobs and had to feed 5 children. We still eating over here.
By the way, talking about responsibility, we got 2 minutes.
Yes, sir.
No.
But yeah, but to your point,
you can keep talking after the show. I mean, but we got to make sure the show go on.
People need to know all of it.
But the bottom line is, because I'm gonna wrap this up real quick.
Got enough juice.
Okay. The bottom line is, if we are not careful about how we allow people to label our comments, our thoughts, that very right, that freedom of speech will be stolen away because they have infringed upon our First Amendment rights. Just look at it in protest, in what you say. These rights are being infringed upon. Stay woke.
All right, I think that's a good final statement. Good final statement. Good show, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate Ron, special guest. Happy birthday, sir.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Hold on. We got to do this. We got to do this right. Birthday and stuff. If y'all gonna say happy birthday,
you doing Steven?
We got to do this right.
Happy birthday.
Hey, quick, while you bring that up,
Selena.
If I ever see Trevor Noah on the Daily Show, you know how he does the segments in between commercials. Listen to what he's talking about the happy birthday song. That is hilarious. Like, look it up on YouTube.
We need to get him on.
Yes, we should get Trevor Noah on. Andre, yes, you know Trevor Noah. Y'all went to high school together.
So we should.
I'm writing the track tonight. Forget you.
I was working on getting Jay-Z on, but if we can bump Jay and get Trevor Noah on.
Yeah, let's get Trevor. Trevor instead.
I mean, not instead. We can still have Jay on,
Yes. I don't know Jay as much as I know Trevor. I follow Trevor more.
I need you, Selena.
I know I'm slurring.
No,
I'm an 8.
But what you're not going to do is say you don't know Jay in my presence.
I know him. I know who he is. I'm just saying I follow Trevor more. I know Jay-Z is married to Beyonce.
Oh, see, look, block.
Block what? To the left.
We're not going to relegate Sean Corey Carter to being Beyonce's husband. That's what we're not going to do.
I don't follow celebrities.
I don't care.
I follow cows.
Next week, I need you to spit a
Turn it up, Andre. Don't let them do this.
I need you to spit some Jay-Z next week.
Put some lights and hearts in the air for my brother Ron Thomas.
Yeah.
It's Tuesday.
Oh no.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Ron. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you everybody who faithfully tunes in to the Love Show. We greatly appreciate all the love, all of it. and this would be nothing without you. Good night,
Just
y'all.
different.